Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar with your boy. We're going to be breaking it down once again. We're going to start off by looking at the SPY. The market hasn't quite closed yet. We got about 4 minutes until the market closes. Just wanted to get a head start on the video as I wrapped up my day fairly early. We're going to look at the SPY. We're going to look at the Qs. We're going to look at the weekly and the daily time frames. And then, of course, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of our 30-minute time frame and just kind of mark our destinations and discuss what occurred today. You got to be very, very impressed with these sellers. They just keep moving this market lower. There was a saying, I can't remember who said it or where I heard it at, but they were saying if the market's going up and to the right, buy. If the market's going down and to the right, sell. So if it's, you know what I mean? If it's going from left to right in an upward motion, buy. If it's going from left to right in a downward motion, sell. And that's been kind of the story over these last couple of days. You kind of have to know when to get involved and sell. And we'll discuss that here in a minute. One of my favorite trade setups, which I came out on the day pretty positive, netted 656. Took one trade, all on the MES. One losing. Couple trades in one account. The rest were positive. One trade, 100%. The other was I took a long position in the Nasdaq, in the pre-market, and got stopped out. And then just kind of battled back a little bit there towards the end of the day for that account. But overall, solid day across the accounts. I believe we just passed another evaluation, so we should be getting that funded account soon. But enough, and we'll discuss the trade that I took today across those accounts that helped me get the P&L. Overall, about 170 MES points today, or about 17 ES points if you look at it that way. All right, so we're looking at our weekly chart here, right? Remember in yesterday's video, I was discussing about the double inside week, how we broke that balance low, and then we had these weekly targets here and here that we set out. Well, we just continued the one-time framing down on the weekly after we broke out that double inside week to the downside, broke it down, and we've hit our first target. Remember how I marked this target yesterday? Well, guess what? We hit that first target on the head today, dipped just below it, and now we're right above it, holding right above it. The question that we have to ask ourselves is this market getting too short? And that's a dangerous question, right? Because that leads you to wanting to buy this market because of the vicious short covering rallies that we can see and that we have seen in this market, right? With the V-shaped recoveries, etc. So until we stop one-time framing on our daily time frame, until we stop one-time framing down on our weekly time frame, this market is a sell. Any push up that this market has, it's a sell until we start to see some changes on our intraday and on our daily chart, and then leads into our weekly chart. Okay, so the weekly is one time framing down, continuing to grind lower. Now let's look at our daily. Daily is looking pretty ugly here, right? You can see how we hit that target for a weekly. Let's go ahead and look at the daily. So the daily here, right? Grinding lower. We've been one time framing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row now. We have this gap that we've held, this downward gap we have held pretty well. This is honestly the most impressive gap down that I've seen all year long. We haven't seen a gap down hold in quite some time, actually. We had this gap down here, and then we grinded lower for several days. And then we finally found a bottom, moved up higher. And then finally here we have a gap down. Will we see a similar move, where we had that retracement of roughly 4%? Well, we'll see a similar move from that, right? So that 4% move from the gap would bring us right around the 200-day moving average. Look at that. I've been discussing this for the past 2 weeks now about how we are targeting that 200-day moving average. And things that are kind of indicating that are just the way that this market continues to grind lower. The volume is increasing on pushes down, right? We had these 2 days here, right? If you look at the volume, was above average. Same thing today. Volume was above average on this push down. Granted, we did not go trend in the sense of the technical with single prints, etc. But this market did continue to grind lower, and that is what is going on in the SPY, right? And then if we look at the ES, right? If we look at our ES, you can see I have gaps here. We've filled one of the premium gaps from the rollover back in June. We filled that gap, and now we're targeting this next gap down here. Now this was a true gap. This was a premium gap. Okay, this was a true gap up. This was just a premium gap where premiums in the contract before the rollover spiked us higher. So this was a true gap here, which led to that move up higher. Now that we've backfilled this gap, we can get rid of that. Now we're targeting this gap here, which is just above the 200-day moving average in ES. For our futures contract, we've got another 2% move to the downside, or roughly 90 points before we get to that 200-day moving average. But I am looking for this market to at some point get to there. And if we do get there and we get below it, then that might be it for the highs on the year, right? I was kind of looking for us to set new highs for the year, but if this market gets below the 200-day moving average, we could see this market be done for highs. We could end up coming into some type of longer consolidation around this 200-day moving average or around the 4,200 level for quite some time, okay? So keep that in mind. This market is one time framing down on all three of our time frames, the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, all one time framing down. ES just broke their monthly balance low, right? We took out that monthly balance low at 43.50, and we've pushed down pretty good below it. Now we have a few days left in the month to determine whether or not this is a true push below, but also look at how we're back testing this previous extremely monthly balance, right? Remember this large balance that we were in? We are now back testing that area of 43.27.50, okay? So we're in this area where we had a pretty good push, right? Pretty good push in this zone for the 4,200 level. So we want to see if this market can stay above 4,200. If it gets below, we could see the highs in for the year and then begin to see some more consolidation down the road. So keep that in mind going forward. Now let's look at the Qs. Same thing, all right? We'll look at the weekly. We already know the monthly's down. And then for the Qs here, we just continue to grind lower. One time framing down out of that double inside week. We continue to push lower. Your next target as far as the downside weekly target would probably be right here at 348.18. 348.18 is going to be this next target here for the weekly time frame. So you're looking to push down lower here, all right? And then on the daily, actually, I do want to show you guys the monthly because I believe the Qs just now touched their monthly balance low. I remember yesterday's video we were discussing how we were getting near it, right? And when we're in a balanced market, you look for a few rules, right? You hold, right? You get to the balance low or wherever the balance is, right? Balance high or balance low. You get to it, hold it, and reverse in the opposite direction and go test the other end. So in this case, we're at a balance low. So we look to see if we hold above it or right at it and push up, reject from it, or you push to it, through it a little bit, stretching the balance and then push back up, or you push to, through, and away from that balance, getting some type of extension, okay? So if this market truly wants to begin to push lower, they need to find acceptance below 354.71, okay? Otherwise, this monthly for the NASDAQ will just be in balance, okay? Or will just stretch the balance low. So weekly, one time framing down, and you can see how it's just barely stretched that monthly balance, okay? Keep this 354 in mind going forward. Now let's look at our daily. Daily has been one time framing down, same as the same as the SPY and the ES, except for they came back into a little bit of a balance prior got into their gap a little bit and then rolled over again. So they're technically only one time framing down 2 days in a row now since stopping the one time framing back on this day on the 22nd. So Qs continue to push lower. Their next target as far as the daily goes is going to be right here at 353. Okay, 353 is going to be the next daily target. And like I said, they're pretty far off their 200-day moving average. So I'm not expecting them to get to it, but keep an eye out if this market does decide to roll over. If companies like Apple, Nvidia, things of that nature begin to roll over, you will see a pretty good liquidation here in the Qs. All right. Now let's go ahead and look at our 30-minute time frames. Get into it today. Let's discuss what happened, mark our destinations, and get you guys out of here. So today we open up inside of the previous day's range. We got the low of day, the previous low of day, right? Stayed below that pretty much all day long. We grinded lower. We attempted to have single prints. Once they got filled, we attempted again later in the day, got filled. And then we ended up having our afternoon rally high. We'll discuss that here in a second. Rolled over, set new lows on the day, attempted to have single prints, filled once more. So trend day down as far as holding single prints are rare to come by. They only happen roughly about 30% of the time. So the other 60% of the time, you have days like this where they kind of fill and then roll back over. So there really isn't any poor structure, but that just kind of shows you that this market's just gradually pushing down and not quite as strong. A strong market on the sell side is kind of like this day here, where we just had single print and then another set of single prints, or we had the one set of single prints and then this large probe to the downside. And since that sell off there, we haven't looked back. We've just been trending lower and lower. So one time frame down pretty much all day long until we stopped it here in F period, right? We had A, B, C, D, E, F. Stopped the one time framing down, meaning we took out a previous time frame's high, stopped the one time framing down, and then that's usually when I begin to look for something like an afternoon rally high, right? So afternoon rally high is just basically the market's been pushing lower. We start to tire out a little bit, and you can see here the extension below the previous low was not very much, and then the next extension below wasn't very much. So we could kind of see that the sell pressure was starting to die off, and you were going to get some sort of a rally. Now, whenever you are looking to short on an afternoon rally high, in my case, I was getting short and then had my stop above this high here, C's high, right? So 43, and I was getting short 31 and 35 is where I had my other offers at. And then I was willing to accept risk up to 43. All right. So, I was taking a bit of heat, 10 plus points to the upside, but I was looking for this market to roll over and continue to push down lower. And that's exactly what we did. So I got short here, and then I added here at 35. I actually was very surprised that we hit 35.50. It didn't push up any higher. So that just goes to show you how strong the market was. We ended up with two poor highs here in H and in I period. And then after that, we roll over. I had my offer or my bid sitting down at the low of day, and then just a little bit lower just to see if this market really wanted to push down. And we did that in J. So this market really got some good extension to the downside after that afternoon rally high. We actually have a price spike here at 43.21 where we kind of just spiked lower. So we'll see if we hold below that tomorrow. I'll mark that on the chart here in a minute. Another thing that I look for on the afternoon rally high scenario is obviously these are 30-minute time frames, okay, that we're looking at. Another thing that I'm looking at is the 1-minute chart. All right. So whenever I took that short, I was looking at us coming into the 144 simple moving average. All right. So as we began to push up, 144 simple moving average was right there. I was comfortable getting short, and then wanted to see us hold below basically VWAP, and then where I had my stop out at around, where was it, 43? Yeah, so basically this high here is what I was looking for us not to get above. So I'll mark that real quick. That was my stopping point, and I wanted to see us hold below VWAP and then get back below the 144 simple moving average. So I got short initially right here, okay, on this push up. We rolled over, kind of grinded back up, This is where I got in my second position, was at 35. Market rolls down. It wasn't quite getting to my bids, which I had sitting down here, right? So I wasn't going to get out of, that was my target. I wasn't going to get out of the market early. Felt like this market could continue to push lower. We pushed up. I once again accepted my risk, had my offer sitting there. Market rolls over, goes, hits my bid for the first portion of my position, continues to push lower, and then in this consolidation zone right in here, and then I seen us get above this 9 EMA on the 1 minute chart. I was like, okay, we'll take the rest of the profit right there. So that is basically in a nutshell how I took that trade. We got above the 144 simple moving average. Now, what had me a little bit worried was how we dipped below the 144 simple moving average right in this zone right here, right? And then pop back above it. Usually when that happens, if the market isn't as strong, you'll get a pretty good rally back to the upside. I once again had my risk up here, had my stopping point. So if we pushed up at any point in time, I was going to get out of the market right there, and that would have proven to me that the trade is no longer valid. But instead, stuck to my guns, had the short on in this zone, right? Oh, I'm still on the arrows, but you get the idea. Had the short on and was looking to rotate lower. Now, we did continue to push lower, but I was obviously, you're never going to catch the entire move. And that was the case today. I'm never going to catch the entire move. So let's go ahead and mark some destinations for the ES. I did nothing in NASDAQ, but you could have shorted NASDAQ. But obviously, you could have taken a short each push up against a previous time frame's high after we began to rotate lower. All right, so we push up. In this time frame, you take a short against this high here, 2750. You're getting short around 22. You're risking 5 points. You roll over, take out the time frame's low. These were a little bit more tricky because we were at lows, but nonetheless, each push up was an opportunity to take a short, just depending on your risk tolerance. All right. So we go out today with the high of day. Hello. My computer's acting all slow. Probably OBS. So we have today's high of day here, 43.54. We have our high of day. Oof. Fuck, it's hype. Jeez. Hello? Okay. We have our afternoon rally high here at 35.50. And we're just going to mark the destinations for the ES, as this video is rather long already. If you want the destinations for the NASDAQ, just leave me a comment down below and be like, hey, do destinations for NASDAQ. In the next video, I got you. But for today, just because this video is a little bit lengthy, we'll wrap it up after I mark these destinations. Afternoon rally high. Beautiful short, right? And if you didn't want to risk that much, you could have had your short, you're out here at above 38, right? So at that point, you would have only been risking 3 points, but not as much as I was. But you know, when I'm playing with the MES, I'm not afraid to add on the push up, and that was kind of the plan. Was if we pushed up, was to add around that 40 level, and then obviously had my out at 43. All right, so afternoon rally high. I do want to mark puberty. Hello. I do want to mark this low here at 43.2175 because that's where the market spiked from. So we're going to say spike. We're not even going to dally with it too much, but that is where the market spiked from. And you can see here in the after hours how we've pushed up to that area and so far backed off initially. So we'll label 43.2175 as a level. If we get above tomorrow, we have a good opportunity to target the afternoon rally high and then our high of day. But once again, keep in mind this market can continue to grind lower, so do not be buying the lows. Right? There's no reason to try to catch a falling knife. No reason at all to catch a falling knife. So there's our low of day, right? So if tomorrow we open up in this area here below 43.2175, you should continue to see us grind lower. Take out 43.05. We will continue to push lower. I do not have any more downside targets. I do apologize. But for the upside, we have 43.50. If we get above that, we have today's high day at 43.54. Even, I don't know why it says 03, but 43.54 is today's high day. We get above that, we will stop the one-time framing down, putting ourselves back into a balance. And then you have 43.67, 10Y point of control from yesterday above us. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Same concept in the Qs, right? They go out with whoa, that's way too much. Wasn't expecting that. But they go out with the high, low, afternoon rally high at 14,785. So basically a back test of the previous day's low and then rolled over. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy the video, if you found this any type of educational, just please leave a like down below. Comment how you traded, how you did today. And just let me know how you're doing. See you.